Masterclass comes your way every Wednesday at 1:15 p.m. and runs all the way through to 2 p.m. here on your superstation Joy 99.7. Masterclass is powered by Joy Business and brought to us by Goyle. Goyle, they say good energy. Goyle, Yenara, Yedia. It's the 5th day of February 2020, second month of the year 2020, and indeed this year has taken off. Indeed, if this year were an aircraft, we will say that, Houston, we have takeoff. And like the good book tells us that a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the arms to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. That can be found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 33. Indeed, the year has started. If you are still asleep, you are still on leave, you are still away on vacation, please come back and start. If you're a business owner, the year has started. January is already gone. February is here. We're starting. Come back to work. Let's start. Let's bring your people back from holiday, from leave, from wherever they are. Let's get to the wheels. Let's start cranking the wheels, and let's start getting some work done. Because very soon, in 28 days or so, in less than that actually, in about 23 days or so, this month of February will also be over. Let me take the opportunity and wish my very good friend Daniel Dazi a very good morning, host of the Super Morning Show. Great show this morning, guys. We always love to listen to you. We also want to take this opportunity and welcome all of our listeners again into a very brand new year, full of new opportunities and new ideas to help your businesses to grow. It definitely does feel good to be back here on the show. My name, as always, is Yaw Barnafo, and I will be your host for the show today. So in the last couple of weeks, we have been spending some time talking about how to position yourself, if you like, how to prepare yourself, in this year 2020. I mean, we spent a lot of time bringing a few people in here to share thoughts with us. And most importantly, in that discussion was you, our cherished listeners, where we had time to look back, if you like, on all the topics we've discussed and found out which ones resonated with you, which ones helped your business. We had Daniel Owusu, who's a United Nations SDG ambassador. He shared with us some thoughts on how to position yourself, things to look out for. We also had with us in the studio at some point Alawi Dauda. Good afternoon, Alawi, if you're listening to us. He also shared some wonderful thoughts with us. And then last week in the studio, we had with us John Armour, the ever energetic John Armour. Good afternoon to you, John. He also shared some thoughts with us. Now, the summary of the points they shared with us, if you missed any of those shows, I've summarized them in about 9 questions, which I'm just going to run through very quickly, just so that if you missed any of those shows, you can take note of them, and ask yourself these questions. Number 1, what kind of business do you run? As an entrepreneur, what kind of business do you run? What is your product? What do you sell? Number 2, what is the size of your operation? These are the questions that we asked so that you can assess your business and position yourself for 2020. What is the size of your operation? We also asked the question, what is your market segmentation? Who do you sell to? If your product is to everybody, then you need to watch it, because your marketing will suffer. You can't appeal to everybody all the time. So who are you selling to? What is your market segmentation? Who is your competition? Who is in the business that you are also in? What are they doing differently? How is their business working? What are they doing that did not work for their business? Next question we also asked ourselves was, what is the performance of your company in the year gone past? So in 2019, ask yourself, listen, I have 5 staff. I own a cleaning company. I got X amount of business. I got Y amount of income. I paid Y amount, X minus Y amount of salaries. What did I have as profit? What are my overheads? Did I make losses? Did I make a profit? What was the performance of your company? Then you ask yourself, what has worked? In the year gone past, what has worked? Then you ask yourself the second question, what has not worked? Of course, if you ask yourself what has worked, then you want to find out what also did not work. And then you ask yourself, what should you shed? What should you take off? Last week when we were talking, we spoke about, John said to us about making the difficult decisions. If your overheads are too high, and you can't bear them, you need to let some people go. If you've got permanent staff, and you're paying them every month and the job is not coming, look at remodeling that position. You may not necessarily let them go, but your arrangement with them will not put them on permanent employment, so that as and when you get jobs, there are professionals in the field to help you to make these decisions to reduce your overheads. So again, we asked that question. We also asked, what should you bring on? These are some of the thoughts that we shared in the show and in the month of January, if you missed it. In this new month of February, however, we're moving on to a completely different area of discussion, something that's critical to all of us as human beings, as in every field, in every endeavor, in our workplaces, in our businesses, and that is a subject of emotional intelligence. I'm sure you've heard about emotional intelligence in various respects in different places. I like to call it EI for short, but we'll be talking about emotional intelligence here on the show. And we'll have a wonderful resource person to do that here with us. I'll be sharing his resume very shortly, but he's a very well-renowned person, professional, set up his own company, and he will be sharing some thoughts with us. I'll mention his name shortly, but he's also a master trainer and a certified coach. He's an experienced international social developer and innovator, and a CEO who holds an executive and trustee positions across a range of public and private not-for-profit entities within Ghana. He founded Ghana's first dedicated Center for Emotional Intelligence. Ghana's first Center for Emotional Intelligence. I didn't know until now that Ghana had a Center for Emotional Intelligence. He's earned a reputation as an efficient leader who has impacted significantly through efficient governance and growth training programs. He holds 2 master's degrees. He's a product of the University of Cape Coast and also the University of Coventry in the United Kingdom. He's also a visiting lecturer for a number of West African and European higher educational institutions. His resume goes on and on and on and on. It's the kind of resume that I would usually say here on the show that when I grew up, I want to be like him. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, help me welcome on the show today Mr. James Kwesi Addison. James, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Very impressive resume.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
We give glory to God.
How does one acquire all of this in a very short life? I mean, this is impressive.
Yes.
But more impressive is the fact that, I've never heard that Ghana has a Center for Emotional Intelligence.
Yes.
So, I mean, very, very briefly, 10 seconds. Why emotional intelligence? How did you go there? Why was that the thing you picked to work on?
Well, now I picked emotional intelligence in 2014 because when I was growing up, I was with my uncle, a chief. He's passed on now. Onyipentri, the second of Enyandinchwa Traditional Council in the Central Region. And I grew up under him, getting to know that there are other skills that predict success more than the IQ that we've been made to believe. So in growing up, I got to know that this is the missing link of all the challenges that we have. If we will be emotionally intelligent enough, the world will be a better place to live.
Wow. We'll be going into the text very soon, but I always like to do this. I want people to be able to connect with you, Mr. James Kwesi Addison. Nice voice. If I were listening to you and I wasn't looking at you, and by the way, we're streaming live on Facebook, so if you want to see my guest in the studio, please go to our Facebook page and watch our live stream. Which school did you go to? 3 questions I always ask. I don't want the universities. Which second cycle school did you go to?
Yeah, actually, I went to the best school in the whole of West
Everybody
Africa.
says their school is the best school.
So you find out whether they are telling the lie or
the truth.
the truth.
Okay, so which school?
I attended Opokuari.
Okay, and your old students are referred to as? Aketechi.
And this is the only school. It's the only school that use numbers for identification.
Wow.
Numerical and then the alphabet.
So
I am A068.
8068. You still remember your number?
I remember. They will know my year of entry,
wow,
year of completion, the house that I was in.
Okay, so all the Aketechi who are listening to us on Joy FM this afternoon, your voice in the studio. Wow.
And then my sixth form was with St. Augustine's College. Okay. I combined 2 best schools in the whole of
So
West
do you
Africa.
prefer to be at this school?
Because of the 5-year period I spent at Opokuari.
So you are an Aketechi?
It's more of...
You are an Aketechi?
Yeah, but okay. I'm honorary member with St. Augustine's.
Okay. Local football team. Which one do you support?
It's Phobia. It's Phobia.
Phobia?
Yeah.
Okay, Until the Bones Are Rotten.
Until the Bones Are Rotten.
Wow.
When I was young, I used to like this name. I never met the man. I don't know whether he's still alive. Olabode Williams.
Okay.
I just love the name.
Okay.
Olabode Williams.
Wow. Wow. International team? Don't say Liverpool. Daniel is listening.
No. It's Chelsea because of ACN. And I'm very loyal, so I don't want to change.
You don't want to move.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you like?
I like gospel
music
and reggae.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can get a gospel song for you while we go. Time check in the studio, 26 minutes past the hour 1. If you've just tuned in, this is Masterclass, and we're spending time in the studio with Mr. James Kwesi Addison, who is a specialist and a founder of the First Center for Emotional Intelligence here in Ghana. He'll be sharing some thoughts with us on emotional intelligence. We'll just take a quick musical break, and then when we come back, we continue with our discussion. This one is from Diana Hamilton, and it says Moniyo. Let's take a listen. Okay, that's we have a small technical hit here, but we'll continue with the show. I'm coming back on okay, all right, we'll take a listen when we come back. Milton, if you've just tuned in, welcome to Masterclass. So, James, preparing for this show, I call you James, yes?
Yes.
Right. Preparing for this show, I was looking up the definition of emotional intelligence.
Good.
And I picked up something in the Oxford English Dictionary.
Okay.
And this is what it says. It says that according to the Oxford English Dictionary, emotional intelligence is a capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically.
Wow.
Emotional intelligence is the key to both personal and professional success.
Good.
Right. That's what I picked up. I just wanted to be able to pick up something on emotional intelligence. And there are a few other people who have made statements on emotional intelligence. I'll leave that to you and then ask you to share some thoughts with us. But just so that our listeners have a bit of chronology of a flow of thought. In this first week of discussion, you're going to be here with us for the next 4 weeks.
Wow.
Thankfully.
Thank God.
Yes. So in this first week, we're going to be looking at what the whole concept of emotional intelligence is, what role it plays in our bodies or in our minds or in our actions in our workplace and all of that, and just seek to understand, sort of introduce that conversation. So questions will be like, what is emotional intelligence? What is emotion? What is intelligence? How does it affect our general life? How does it affect our business? These are the questions that we'll be using to tease out the discussion, essentially. Somebody said to me once that the thing about emotional intelligence is so broad, but they talked about what you say. For example, if you made a statement, it's not just about what you said, it's about what you didn't say. So, for example, if you meet a friend and he says, Charlie Kofi, today is Friday. What they've said to you is that today is Friday. Of course, you heard that. What they haven't said to you probably is that, so do something.
The details of the Friday has not.
Maybe I need some money, or you promised me something that it will be on Friday. So today is Friday. You know, so our body language, our actions, our thoughts, the things we mean to say, the things we don't mean to say. Somebody said to me once, says, your actions are speaking so loudly, I cannot hear what you are telling me.
Perfectly.
You know, so
that is
these are just a few thoughts on the whole discussion.
Good.
But let's introduce it properly.
Good.
And then build a chronology so that our listeners can follow our thoughts. So take us away.
Good. Thank you very much, and I enjoy the songs. It's my favorite song.
Wow. I'm happy you did.
Yes, when we look at where we started and where we got into, it's only the Lord. Now, I will do briefly into emotions in generality today. Emotions took its root from French word that is known to. I'm not that good in French, but
it's fine.
Yes, I could see émouvoir. Yeah, that is to stir up or to cause something to move. Now, basically, when we talk about emotions, it's a mental state. I picked this definition from the U.S. American Heritage Dictionary, 2000. It said it's a mental state that arises spontaneously without conscious effort to make it happen, but is most of the time accompanied by physiological changes. There are three key things in here. It is a mental state, which means all emotions comes from the brain. It rises spontaneously. That means you may not necessarily get up in a day and tell yourself that I want to be angry, I want to be frustrated, but frustration and anger can visit you. The last thing I want us to look at in that definition is the physiological change. Have you met somebody who is angry, never told you he's angry, but you saw from the facial expression and the body language that the person is what? Is angry or frustrated. Now, one other thing I want us to bear in mind is that for so many years, we've looked at emotions to be that negative. That is so because most of the time, the behaviors that come or precede emotions are most of the time, especially with reference to distressing emotions, are not that helpful. So, for instance, somebody is angry, and because we know anger, if it's not properly managed, can lead to something else. As soon as we see somebody angry, we write off the person. You don't have to be angry. But today I want us to know that all emotions are okay. Now, why is all emotions okay? All emotions are okay because emotions have sources. One, emotions are logic, and emotions have causes. If I'm angry, something might have caused the anger, right? But the reason why most of the time we turn a blind eye to it totally is that we've equated emotions to behavior. But there's a difference between emotions and behavior. Somebody is angry. Nobody is injured. Somebody is angry. Somebody is injured. So the anger itself may not necessarily be bad, but the behavior that we put up during anger may allow people to refer to anger as being bad. So the second thing is that all emotions are okay, but not all behaviors are okay. And that is why we are here. That ability to manage the behavior when you are under a distress emotion is what will take us far. Now, emotions are involved in everything that a person does. And our ability to manage the distressing emotions that comes with life is what determines how far we can go in life. So basically, I also want people to appreciate the fact that being emotional should not necessarily lead to irrational behavior. When somebody is angry, does not necessarily have to lead to the fact that the person will do something and end up in jail or be in the grips of the law. Now, emotions have their own value, right? When you listen to Alibaba, the richest man in China, he will tell you all the challenges I had in life turn out to be a benefit to me. So emotions have values. When we have time to speak to emotions, we will see that emotions are giving us a data to work with. When I was given this opportunity, I might have experienced a couple of emotions. What they were telling me is that joy is not an easy platform. Now you need to prepare. So emotion is giving me an information, and being emotionally intelligent, I must now turn that emotions, harness it, as they may say, to my benefit. Very, very important. Mr. Addison, what then is emotional intelligence? I had some simple definition which I picked it from one small boy in a school. He said, Mr. Addison, there are two words here, emotions and intelligence. So I think it means that you are intelligent with your emotion. I said, you are good. You are the Daniel Goleman of Ghana. So emotional intelligence simply means you have the ability, right, to make healthy decisions based on accurately, one, identifying, understanding, and managing your own emotions and that of others. Now, when you do that, then I'm coming to your definition. You should be able to relate to other people's emotions empathetically. That means you must connect to people's emotions and understand them. Functionally, that means when you relate to somebody who is angry, it shouldn't end up for that person to be in prison, which means it's going to be functional, positive functional for the person. Cooperatively, so three things here. You relate to people empathetically, cooperatively, and functionally. That means you've been able to harness your emotions for good. That is, this is very, very important, looking at the fact that emotions are involved in everything that we do. Now, Mr. Addison, why God in his own infinite wisdom give us emotions that seems to be battling with us? God himself is full of emotions. For God himself got angry sometime. He had wanted to destroy the Israelites. And then he took the intervention of Moses to plead. And then the Holy Spirit grieved and Jesus wept. So they were telling us that emotions are not bad. That a time will come in our life that we will experience emotions. Mr. Addison, now I'm almost 40, 35 years. One thing I want us to know about emotions, and I move into its relevance to business and entrepreneur, is that these skills are learnable. These skills are teachable. Scientifically proven, we can help you to learn how to be empathetic. And I think as we go on in the course of the other weeks, we may be able to build some of these things. Now, what is the relationship between emotions and entrepreneur? And I want to put it on record that emotions drives entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs drive successful businesses. Any entrepreneur that is very successful, first and foremost, was moved by emotion and is still being sustained by emotions. Let's pick a simple example. Most of the entrepreneurs that we see, most of them might have been at the workplace and they have experienced probably excitement, joy, and others might have also gone through bitterness, grief. Now, when we take somebody like Bill Gates, it is an excitement. Excitement is an emotion. It is an excitement into computers that made Bill Gates who he is. Now, when you have that kind of excitement and you have the passion, we have what we call the harmonious passion, a passion that is consistent, and you are so in love with that particular passion, you have that capability of coming out with a very good business. Now, when you take the Alibaba once again, the man was, according to his own words, he said, I was rejected. 30 jobs, application rejected. There were 24 people attended an interview with KFC. 23 chosen, and he said, I was rejected. 6 people applied for policing. 5 taken and said, I was rejected. The last one that made her mother to laugh at him was that there were 2, himself and a cousin. They went to the town that they live in, a 4-star hotel. They were looking for a job. They waited for 2 hours. After the interview, the cousin was chosen. He was rejected. So you could see that rejection that could have sent somebody into his grave for having the degree and not finding work to do. That rejection moved that man to enter into his own organization. So there's a straight, there's no company that its prospect could not be increased or made better by emotional intelligence. Now, I want us to quickly look at other areas that emotional intelligence is very, very important. Now, before we even grow up, research have shown that children at the age of 5, children that have capability in these 2 areas, social and emotional, their life chances of success in life is better. Now, there is this research that was carried out in a research that was carried out in Penn State University, Duke, in America. They took 19 years for that research. And they did it when the kids were 5 years. I'm looking at emotional intelligence and the general success of our life. Wherever you find yourself in marriage, when I'm talking about success in marriage and the workplace and all those areas, you find being a pastor, a reverend, a CEO. Now, they went to the school and weighed the student on 4 areas. 1, how good they are in sharing. 2, how good they are in conflict management. You see that there are some children when 2 of them are fighting, 2 kids are fighting, there is one that will go and separate them. Oh, Kofi, don't fight, Kwame, and separate them. Others too will go and say, Kofi, beat him, yeah, put him on the ground. So, conflict management. They also look at collaboration, how they are able to collaborate with one another. The last but not the least that they look for is how helpful those children are. Now, after 19 years, these kids were 24, 25, thereabout. When they went, the revelations were mind-blowing. Now, they got to know that the kids that were able to exhibit this type of social and emotional skills, they were in gainful employment. When they are entrepreneurs, they are doing well. They are in relationship. I don't want to say marriage. They are in relationship. They don't have problem with the law. Are you getting it? They've not contracted any diseases. Those that were struggling with these 4 areas, the kids, those that were struggling, most of them were in jail. They couldn't even finish the 6th form or go up to the university. When they are in the workplace, people cannot work with them. That is where they began to pay more attention to social and emotional intelligence. And that is the best predictor of success. Now, Mr. Addison, what about employability? Now we get up and we go around and we are not getting the jobs because the jobs are not doing well to even expand and all those things. Because we don't have the needed people there. We don't have the emotional, intelligent people at the workplace. We may be carried all the qualifications, but who is that good person who cannot work in a team? Who is that good person who is abusive instead of assertive? Who is that good person who cannot connect to other people's emotions and be supportive to them? It amounts to nothing. So in 2016, right, research showed they predicted that by the year 2020, emotional intelligence is going to be the employee differentiator. You can only differentiate yourself for people to employ you, or the employers are going to look for people who can work in a team, who have very good communicative skills, who understands the team. Are you getting my point? And all these things are social, who are very optimistic. How do you employ salesperson who lack optimism? So today we will look at a research that was carried and proving that people that have particular skills do very well in areas of a particular occupations. So when it even comes to employment, just this year 2000, when you read about the World Economic Forum 2020, they have predicted the best 10 skills that people need to possess in order to be successful at the workplace and all those things. And emotional intelligence is on number 8.
Wow.
Emotional intelligence that we're talking about, just 2015 was not in the top 10. In 2016, it came to the 6th. Now it's in 8. And some aspect of that particular one is also collaboration. Very, very important. No wonder Denmark and those people are teaching empathy, collaborations in school. It's very, very important. Now, in 2011, Career Builder Survey, they interviewed hiring managers and human resource professionals in America and Canada. Look at the revelation. 71%, right, said they value emotional intelligence in an employee more than the IQ. 75 also said they are likely to promote somebody who is emotionally intelligent than somebody who is ordinary with that, how do you call it, intelligent, right? So these things are very, very, very important. Now, if time will permit, work success, emotional intelligence predicting close to 50% of their work success at the workplace.
Mr. Anderson, just hold the thoughts for me there. Right, I'll come back to you shortly. I want our listeners, I want to open the phone line so that our listeners can join in, because there's such good information there that I want us to get interactive. But I have some information. Do you own any motor vehicle of any kind? If you do, then I have some good news for you. Goil's new Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 loops are the best engine oils for your vehicle. They are specially engineered engine oils which efficiently work on all your modern petrol and diesel engines. They clean, they protect, they reduce fuel consumption, they prolong oil change intervals, and they also enhance your engine performance right from when you start up to when you switch off. So go to any Goil filling station today and grab the new Goil Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 engine oils for superior vehicle performance. Goil, they say good energy. Goil, Yenara, Yedia. I want to open the phone line straight away. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. If you've just tuned in, this is Masterclass here on your Superstation. We're spending time in the studio with Mr. James Kwesi Addison, and we're discussing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. What do you know about emotional intelligence? What has your experience been about emotional intelligence? Pick up that phone, give us a call, let's share some thoughts. Otherwise, you can also send us a comment on 0244 340 437. That's 0244 340 437. You can give us a call on 0302 216 541. So, Ms. Addison, let's continue with your thoughts while we wait for the calls to come through.
Good.
And then once you're done, I have a few questions of my own.
Good.
If there's enough time, I will ask them. Otherwise, we'll ask them next week.
Good.
But by all means, we want our listeners to get interactive. So the phone lines are open. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. Ms. Addison, let's go.
Good. Now, the next thing I want us to look at is about emotions and the cost. You know, every organization to be successful, you need to manage.
Okay, I think I have a caller on the line. Let's take my first call. Good afternoon. You're welcome to Masterclass. Your name, where you're calling from?
My name is Kojo. I'm calling from Ofanko.
Thank you, Kojo. Good afternoon, and Happy New Year to you, Kojo.
Same to you, brother. Same to you.
Talk to me. EI.
The program. It's very, very, very interesting and very educative. And I wanted to find out from Mr. Addison that what would we do about the young people of today stressed from marriage, home, and then when we come to work, we try to bring it on to work, because you walk into some offices, the receptionist is maybe so angry from somewhere, you don't know why, you ask a question, and then it becomes as if, sit down. I mean, you just talk to the client just like that. I mean, all these things, I think we have to inculcate it as a culture with most of the companies that have to do face-to-face, or someone has to walk into offices, because sometimes you are surprised. You walk into an office and it's like you are being forcing them to, to provide a service.
Okay, right. Thank you so much for calling. We'll hold that question. Good. What do you do when people carry? But I've also got Obusumuru from the Mabe. Let's talk to Obusumuru. Hello, good afternoon. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. My name is
Sorry, please speak up a bit so I can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Godson. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Godson. Talk to me.
Yeah, I actually want to ask you a question. I have a bit of emotional intelligence problem. So I do my own thing, but I'm able to manage it, because sometimes I'm very quick-tempered, and dealing with people becomes a bit difficult for me sometimes. Okay. And my emotions really affect most of my things I do, especially in my negotiation skills. When I actually meet people that I'm actually going to something else, sometimes you may say things that could very break me, but I'm not able to contain that kind of
So what do you do, right?
I'm into writing, and I leave my team.
No, I'm saying that. So you're asking how do you handle it?
Yes.
Right. Right, thank you so much, Godson. So that was Godson. He has a personal problem. He wants to know how to handle it. So let's answer both questions, hopefully before the next call comes through.
Good. I'm very, very happy. Interesting questions. You know, the first question, look at how do we help these people that are at the forefront. I mean, it basically boils down to training and development. You know, most of the time I say that if I may take emotional intelligence to workplaces for training, the secretary will look at it and may not be able to connect how emotions can help you. Now, the first thing is that they need training. It's high time companies invest in training these people. Because, you know, emotions are contagious. That means it can be transferred easily. So people that have problems can easily transfer it to other people that are scamming. And most of the time, I use basic economics to tell people about this, that we have the burden, the resting place of a tax. Now, when a tax is imposed, based on the, the elasticity of demand facing you, you may bear the bigger price or the less. For instance, a petrol increase. Me and you may have no option. So the petrol seller or the share company will put more on that, we may not be able to run.
Right.
But when you increase other products, we may be able to run. So there's an indication that when we're not able to train these people, they are likely to transfer whatever they are experiencing to other people.
So awareness and training.
I've
got Shaibu from Accra. Let's talk to Shaibu. Good afternoon, Shaibu. Sorry for keeping you. Welcome to Masterclass.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Talk to me, Shaibu.
Yes, please. I hope you are discussing about emotional intelligence.
That's correct, Shaibu.
Yes, please. I want to find out what about somebody who works in an organization and then that person is managing the emotional intelligence of their colleagues. Maybe one or two people are abusing him. He tries to manage them, and some others to use the opportunity, maybe insult him and other things. So when he's managing them, I mean, how would such a person react to that?
Right. Shaibu, thank you so much. So Shaibu wants to know, and there's a question I was going to ask also. We can never master our own emotions completely. So how do you manage other people, especially when you're a manager, you're a leader at work, and you're managing other people who have their own portions or packages of emotional intelligence? How do you handle it?
Good. Now, the one thing I said is that emotions are good. Not all emotions are good, but not all behaviors are good. Now, when you are able to, when you see somebody that is angry, somebody who is frustrated, what you have to do is to be able to empathize. Right. So first understand there might be a cause. What is the cause for this? People don't put out behavior for no reasons. So the causes must be what? Must be found out. When you're able to find the cause, then what is going to happen is that when you empathize, people open up for collaboration. I don't know whether I'm making...
Yes, so Shaibu, what we're saying is that when people react badly to you as a leader, and they, I think your words were insult you, as a manager, sometimes step back, because they don't insult you every day, do they? But on that particular day or in that particular week, maybe they just lost somebody. Maybe something happened to them at work. Maybe, so they're dealing with something. So as a manager, you be the mature one, you have the bigger heart, and then you step back and try and be a better person. There was Godson who said he has anger, temper issues, and sometimes it results in behavior that is untoward. What does he do?
Now, what he has to do is that, so far as he has identified that he has an anger issue, the problem is almost half or 50% solved. So what you then have to do is that, what do you need to do when you see you are angry? There are simple basic techniques, right? Sometimes you may have to hold whatever you want to say at that moment.
I'll tell you something funny.
We call it impulse management.
Precisely.
Ability to manage your impulse or delay your decision for a split of a second, and you see the difference you made. Sometimes something happens, you want to say something. When you delay small, if that word have come out, you have regretted for such a long time. So the indication is that somebody that is doing something wrong to you, we need to treat those people as blind people. They may not know what actually they are doing to you until you have enough time for them and let them know the implications of what they are doing on you. So he needs to calm down. You get him up. But he also needs to deep breath. He needs to empathize with people. That he should know that whatever somebody is doing, something might have triggered that. So you need to have time to find out what is really happening. For all you know, that anger is not directed at you. For instance, a child may go out to play, and when they lose the match, he comes home and doesn't greet the father. Then the father goes, "Who are you? I couldn't have done this in those days." you get about
it. It's not even about you.
It's not about you.
Yes. He just lost his game.
That is it. So most of the time, we don't find out really what is happening, but we look at the end product and we think everything is wrong. But so he needs to calm down, walk away, take a deep breath. Now that he knows, it means he must be able to do one or two of these things to manage the situation. Very, very important.
That is, with what you are saying, it means that if we all understand it like this, then the world will be a very...
That is it. Denmark, Norway, those places, they teach emotional intelligence. They teach collaboration. In one of the weeks in a school, right, they teach empathy. Now, what they will do is that all the children will come with the problems of the week. And the teacher is involved, listening, not ready to speak. There's a difference between listening and getting ready to speak. When people are listening, when we move into the other...
I think we need to do a whole session on listening. I've got Ken from Legon. Ken says, "Hi, Masterclass. Please, what do you do when you're in partnership with others in a business? They are not so bothered about the detail and care of the equipment. You see a problem impending from the way they handle the equipment. You talk to them and it's like, why are you telling them what to do? So I now don't talk, and the problems come, and the company money has to be used in repairing the damage. How do you deal with this emotionally? Ken from Lagos. Let's talk to Ken.
Good. I think I empathize very well with Ken's situation. The first thing I would tell Ken is to, I have what I call, when you are on a flight, and unfortunately something is about to happen, they will tell you to put on your mask first before you help the other person. Or if you don't that, you tried, you will die, the other person will also die. So Ken himself need to be trained on how to handle this distressing emotion. Now, secondly, his people also need to be trained. That is why this international center is around. Now, Ken now need to be able to let these people really appreciate the impact they are having on him emotionally. You get my point? Because sometimes people don't know the damage they are doing to you. So you tell them, do you know something? Because of this and this, do you know that I can't sleep for 2 hours? Do you know that I'm getting a high blood pressure? You get my point? Let them know emotionally how they are torturing you. Now, emotions at the workplace is now declared as how do you call it? It's an epidemic something. Very serious. In America, given the room, 80% of the people doesn't want to go to work.
If we bring that thing here to Ghana, then
nobody wants to go.
We are very sick. Okay,
we've been sick in such a way that we don't know we are sick.
I think you can send in one last comment. I've got 3 more minutes on the show. If you want to slip in a call, 03022165541. Linda from Osu says, good afternoon, Masterclass. How can one handle an adult who is always angry with almost everything? Ms. Addison, 10 seconds. Let's try and answer Linda.
Now, what he has to do is that this person is angry all the time. That simply means that there is something that keeps on triggering this person. Sometimes you may know, Linda may not even know that he's triggering this person. So he needs to connect to this person's emotions and find out what always necessitates this kind of behavior. It may be from something that Linda has turned a blind eye to, and the person is not emotionally intelligent to express his feelings.
He's dealing with something else.
Good, he's dealing with something else. There's the need for us to interrogate.
Let me slip this in very quickly. There are a lot of questions here. I'm sure that a lot of my callers, but thankfully we're going to do this for the next 4 weeks, so there's a lot of time. What are some of the emotions that we can identify? I mean, we're talking about emotional intelligence.
Good.
Can we just just mention a list?
Yes, we have 7 basic emotions. We have the joy, we have sadness, we have contempt, we have disrespect, we have disgust. These are we call it universal, because when a white man is angry, the facial and micro expressions may not differ from a black man that is angry, but it volumes and thousands of them. But these 7 stand for all of them, because those ones will come under each of these ones. Somebody is happy, excitement stands for happiness, joy, and all those kind of things.
Okay.
Very, very
I have another one here. Is it correct to say that behavior, you talked about behavior and emotion and the fact that, let's say, if we're talking about symptoms and cause, behavior is a symptom and emotion is a cause. Is it correct to say that behavior is a direct function of emotion?
Yes, behavior is a direct function of emotion. We are moved by emotions to do whatever we do. But the beauty is that we should have the ability to manage it when the emotion is a distressing one, so that we don't end up in...
10 seconds, your final thoughts. Take out from today. We will continue next week, but take out for today.
Yes.
What should they remember if they forget anything?
Now, they should remember that all emotions are okay. Secondly, they should get trained in emotions, because whilst we have the ability to train on technical issues, right, we should also have the ability to train these skills that are very, very useful, very, very important. They should also know that emotions have a cost. Therefore, they should be able to manage emotions properly, so that we don't incur a lot of costs in terms of absenteeism, presenteeism. I was going to give you a lot of figures on absenteeism. The EU-funded research is putting...
I'm sure we can share those figures.
Now, I also want to give them an assignment for next week. I want to engage them. I want everybody to pick up an entrepreneur that he knows and just tell us or send us 2 attributes of that person, the person that he thinks the person is successful. He should send us 2 attributes. Next week we'll do that and prove or disprove a research.
Right. So thank you so much. This has been Masterclass on your Superstation. We've completely run out of time. Up next is the news at 2. My name is Yaw Anim Barnafo. We'll see you same time next week. Thank you for listening in.